Welcome back into the Pick and Roll NBA podcast with Jet and Sap, presented by Full Press Coverage. Sap, I'm very happy today to officially be sending the Brooklyn Nets on their way to Cancun or wherever, as the NBA on TNT likes to do. They're sending them fishing. We need to come up with some sort of term that we can do when teams get eliminated. I don't think we'll be able to top the Gone Fishing segment that TNT does so effectively, but I'm sure we can come up with something good.
Well, the interesting thing about Kyrie Irving is since he's a contrarian, he's definitely not going to Cancun or he's not going to any place where the other players go. He's got to go somewhere different.
Go Mount Everest. It's going to be cold where he goes.
Probably. Yeah, that would make sense for Kyrie. Yeah, I think that would be pretty interesting. Yeah, I mean, major disappointment in getting swept by the Boston Celtics. I wasn't surprised the Celtics beat them. A sweep, yeah, that was surprising. But this is a team that the last 2 years considered the favorites to win the Eastern Conference and maybe even win the NBA championship. They lost last year in round 2 in game 7 to Milwaukee. I mean, you could say that if they won that game, they may have gone on and won the championship. This year, they never got their act together. Although I shouldn't say that because early in the season, they were the number 1 seed. But then you had the vaccine issue with Kyrie Irving. Durant got hurt. James Harden got disinterested. They went a 20-game stretch yet where they went 3-17. And that was mostly without Kyrie, Harden, and Durant. I mean, they were all out for whatever particular reasons. But yeah, major disappointment losing in the first round of the playoffs. And now we got to look forward to the offseason. What the hell are they going to do?
Yeah, they have a lot of questions, more questions than answers, certainly surrounding them. And, there's always the sideshow of Kyrie Irving. And he said, I'm not planning on leaving Kevin Durant. I'm planning on staying here. But how anybody can take him at his word at this point, then I have a bridge to sell you. I think he will stay in Brooklyn. I have no idea what they offer him in terms of years. They seem so intent on making this work, the front office of the Nets, and so intent on catering their stars. Maybe they just end up offering him, 4 or 5 years, the most they can and the most money, and just, try to make him happy. But logic would say, shouldn't you not give this guy a humongous long-term contract?
How can you? I mean, he and Ben Simmons, his teammate, are the 2 most unreliable players in the league. Now, Ben Simmons is signed 4 years, $140 million. That was the deal he signed in Philadelphia. So now that's on the books of the Brooklyn Nets. Durant's opted in 4 years, $200 million. Kyrie's eligible for that. So you'd be paying around $135 million for 3 guys. Durant, who's reliable but not durable, and is going to be 34 in October. Kyrie Irving, who's not dependable, and Ben Simmons, who's even less dependable than Kyrie Irving. Good luck with that. I mean, you'd have to have everything work perfectly for it to work. And I would bet against that, knowing what these players have been throughout their career.
And Kyrie's
why would you give Kyrie Irving a long-term deal?
It's not just the flakiness. He's been injury prone.
Oh, God, yeah. Oh, no. No, as Stephen A. Smith said, in 11 seasons, Kyrie Irving's played more than 60 games 4 times. And that was back at Cleveland. And 3 of those years are with LeBron, or 2 of those years are with LeBron, who maybe LeBron, again, being one of the best leaders in the sports, kind of, made sure that he got out there to play. Now he's just, he had the vax issue this year. The year before was the January 6th Capitol strife that, set him off, that he needed 3 weeks off. I mean, there's always something with Kyrie Irving. Why would you give him a 5-year or 4-year deal at max money, knowing that at some point next year there's going to be planned vacations? I mean, I wouldn't do it.
Stephen A. Smith, what he said, this made me laugh. I mean, maybe it wasn't the most sensitive thing, but he said when Russia bombed Ukraine, he thought Kyrie Irving was going to take a month off from work, which is, I mean, he's a weird guy, maybe.
No, right. Yeah, no, there's always something with Kyrie. Yeah.
Sap, I want to read you a quote.
Yeah, he may have. Yeah, why not? I mean,
sorry, go ahead.
Oh, no, go ahead, read. I mean, I don't know if it's going to be the one from the other night's loss to the Celtics, where he said that he and Kevin Durant will manage the franchise.
Yes,
along with the owner, Joe Tsai. Yeah, along with the owner, Joe Tsai, and Sean Brooks, Sean Marks, the general manager. So they're, I'm sure, over the next couple of days, they're all going to get together in Brooklyn, and the 4 of them are going to sit down and figure this out. I mean, Kyrie probably wouldn't even show up to the meeting. I mean, like, what is he talking about?
But yeah, he said, when I'm saying I'm here with Kev, I think that really entails us managing this franchise together alongside Joe and Sean. Like, you just got swept. The arrogance of this guy, the ego on this guy is just like, and the self-awareness. He's one of a kind, Sap.
He is the least self-aware athlete I think I've ever seen. And I used to say that about Russell Westbrook's in that discussion as well. But at least Westbrook shows up and plays hard, at least on the offensive end. So at least you can kind of say, well, the guy just had a bad year. He can't shoot. He's not, I don't think he intentionally derails the team. With Kyrie Irving, it's like, I think he wakes up in the morning and let me think of a way to screw this team or be a contrarian and say stupid things. I mean, yeah. So Kyrie and Kevin Durant are going to run the franchise and, sign massive contracts. Durant's already signed a massive contract. Kyrie's going to sign a massive contract. And again, you're going to be committed to $135 million for the next 4 years. Each year, $135 million a year for the next 4 years to Ben Simmons, Kyrie Irving, and Kevin Durant. Like, huh?
Yeah, that's not an enviable situation. It's an enviable collection of talent, but you got to factor in the personalities. That's the biggest factor in it. And,
Right.
Somehow Durant, who's, seems like he's a malcontent most of the time, just not happy in life, is the easiest one to rely on of those
Right.
guys.
Oh, yeah.
At least, he loves basketball. He's hurt a lot, but he loves basketball and he's going to, put in the work that way. But Ben Simmons, I think everybody's catching on to what we said Hexap when we were at the Herald, that I don't know that this guy even likes basketball very much.
No, he likes fashion. He looks good on the bench.
He likes the
dresses
trappings.
well.
He likes the trappings,
does.
Sap.
Loves all that. The beautiful women, the big properties that he owns, and the stardom. But you do have to at some point show up and play. And Kyrie Irving, I think, loves basketball, but as an art form, right? So it's not necessarily competition. Like, he didn't look really distraught the other night that the Nets got swept by the Celtics. He actually looked happy and relieved. Durant probably in some sense was relieved, like, I don't have to deal with, Kyrie Irving and Ben Simmons for a while. I mean, Kevin Durant spent 3 years in Golden State with, I think, along with LeBron James, the best leader in the sport, and Steph Curry, incredibly reliable guys in Klay Thompson and Draymond Green. And Draymond Green got in his face, right? And was ready, willing, and able to push back against Durant. Durant didn't like that. But don't you think at some point Brooklyn's going to need a Draymond Green type of guy who at some point in the locker room before a game goes up to Durant and Kyrie and Ben Simmons and goes, fellas, we got a big game tonight. This is serious stuff. We've got to get our act together for this game, rather than, well, Ben Simmons, I am not sure if I can come back. There's a mental health issue. It's my back. No, it's mental health. And Kyrie is in his own world. And Durant, got taken off track by the Celtics physicality. I mean, you need that type of guy.
Yeah, no one's reaching
kind of
those
straighten
guys.
Everybody else, but
no one is.
But no one's reaching them. No, like, people are talking about a coach. Like, I heard the name thrown out there. It's not going to happen. He's too old. But a Phil Jackson type coach who knows how to manage superstars. And I think Phil Jackson and Kyrie would probably connect at some point.
They don't want to coach. They've said that.
They don't want to coach. That's the other thing. Like, Jordan wanted a coach. Kobe wanted a coach. Shaq wanted a coach. LeBron, I think, wants a coach. I mean, he usually gets rid of them pretty quickly, but I think he kind of, I think he respected Eric Spoelstra by the time he left Miami, and he should, because Spoelstra is the best coach he's ever played for. Although I think Ty Lue was very good as well, and Vogel was a good coach.
There's different reason why I think LeBron doesn't want to coach than what those guys in Brooklyn don't want to coach. LeBron knows more than the coach.
LeBron thinks he's smarter than them, and in most cases, he probably is.
I give him credit where credit's due. He is.
Yeah,
but these guys,
got the highest IQ of anyone.
Durant and has a very high basketball IQ. So does Kyrie Irving at times. But they don't want to coach because they don't want somebody challenging them. It's a completely different reason.
Right. Well, look, when they went there, Jet. I mean, Brooklyn built a pretty nice culture before they got there. Like, they weren't going to win a championship with, Spencer Dinwiddie and Karis LeVert and, Jared Allen as your top three players. But that was a nice team, right? They made the playoffs. They were competitive.
Yeah, I don't believe
Kenny
they got
Atkinson
swept in the playoffs.
No, they were a pain in the ass to play against. And Kenny Atkinson was a coach of the year candidate. Durant and Kyrie Irving show up. And what do? You trade those three guys to essentially get you James Harden. I mean, what would Brooklyn be right now if you had Durant, and
ran Kenny
Irving,
Atkinson right out of town?
Ran right out of town. But what would that roster look like if you had Durant, Kyrie Irving, to go with Jared Allen, Spencer Dinwiddie, and Karis LeVert. Those were three ballers, right? Maybe you'd have something there. Yeah, you look at Golden State. I mean, you won obviously because of Steph Curry and Klay Thompson and Durant, but you also had other guys, JaVale McGee and heck, Andre Iguodala was a Finals MVP. Other guys that would contribute. Hell, Sean Livingston, I don't think ever missed a shot in the finals. It didn't appear to against Cleveland in 4 years. So, you need those other guys out there to contribute. And, they just bombed the entire franchise. And now look at where they are. The Brooklyn Nets are in worse shape now than they were 3 years ago when Durant and Kyrie Irving signed with them.
Yeah. Because these contracts are gonna. I mean, listen.
Oh, my
I have no
Lord.
problem. Durant, pay him whatever the hell he wants. Like, even though he's missing time, like, he's spectacular. That's fine. Pay him whatever he wants. He's worth it. Ben Simmons, clearly, the money that he's getting, basically stealing, is a horrible contract. And Kyrie Irving,
right?
You get what you get with him. I wouldn't give him a long-term contract. Their hands are tied because he's buddies with Kevin Durant. So, this is the bed that the Nets made for themselves. This is the deal with the devil they made. They got to stick with it. They have no choice. They can't reverse course now. Yep. They have Kevin Durant under a long-term contract. They're not going to be able to just completely switch. This is the red direction they picked. And Sap, I have a list of free agents of the Nets free agents this offseason. It was the team's going to look different next year. One way or another. Mm-hmm. Bruce Brown is as an unrestricted free agent. I think he made himself some money with his, they got swept, but he played well in 3 of the 4 playoff games.
He was their best player in games 2 and 3. He was their best player in games 2 and 3.
They're not going to be able to pay him market value. So he's going to go, I would imagine. LaMarcus Aldridge didn't play at all. He's going to probably retire. Blake Griffin, you saw, was somewhat effective in game 3, not so effective in game 4. I'd imagine he's going to go. Andre Drummond played big minutes for them, not super effective. He's already said prior to the series he's going to leave in the offseason. So he's gone. Claxton's a restricted free agent. I'm assuming they'll pick that up. Dragic is probably going to leave. He can get paid more than what they can offer him. So all those veteran guys are going. I was listening to the post game on TNT last night. Kenny, I think it was Kenny, raised a good point where if you're a veteran, you're trying to Brooklyn's cap strap. So basically you can acquire guys via the veterans minimum. Mm-hmm. You can acquire as many guys as you want that way. That doesn't count against your cap. You can't go over the cap paying the veterans minimum. The way that Brooklyn treated Griffin and Aldridge, which was basically sticking them on the end of the bench. Are you a veteran and go, well, do I really want to end my career in Brooklyn where I'm not going to play at all?
Good point.
I don't know what they do. Like, okay, they're getting Joe Harris back last year. He's an excellent 3-point shooter. He's a sieve defensively. Overall, he'll help them more than he'll hurt them, but he's not enough to, like, if he played in the series, Brooklyn's still probably getting swept. I don't know that he's the difference maker. And then from there, I don't know what the hell they do, Sap.
Yeah, I mean, and the East is only getting stronger, right? Like, Giannis is right in his prime, so Milwaukee's always going to be contending. The Celtics have a nice roster with 2 young studs in Jason Tatum and Jaylen Brown. Miami, we know some of their stars are a little bit old, but they're always there because they're such a well-run organization. I think Toronto's the best-run organization, perhaps, in the Eastern Conference. Masai Ujiri's both of our favorite general manager or president in the entire league. So, yeah, I mean,
Chicago's getting better.
Chicago's getting better. Cleveland's getting better. So you've got teams that are there. So it's not going to be that easy to break through. And again, Durant's going to be 34 in October. And Kyrie, you don't know. Is he going to join the circus? Is he going to – who knows with him? Ben Simmons, is he ever going to play again? Is he going to play for Brooklyn? I mean, look, I'm going to throw this absolute crazy trade rumor. Not a rumor. I'm making it up. It's not going to happen. It's a rumor. It's my rumor. And the thing is, it would be the biggest trade in the history of the NBA. It's also be the wildest trade in the NBA history, right? I mean, the Lakers in Brooklyn probably wake up today going, what the hell happened? We were supposed to be the favorites in our respective conferences, and we're both gone. The Lakers didn't even make the playoffs. They didn't even make the play-in, and the Nets got swept by the Celtics. What about the Lakers send Russell Westbrook and Anthony Davis to Brooklyn for Kyrie Irving and Ben Simmons?
I think that
You're speechless. You're speechless, aren't you? How would that be?
I don't. Who
How
would
awesome
be?
would that be? There, I mean, you'd have Durant reunited with Westbrook.
Does he?
Right?
Do they like each other?
I don't know, but maybe they're desperate at this point. Maybe Durant looks at Kyrie and goes, "You know what? Westbrook was actually better to deal with than Kyrie Irving because at least he showed up." And then you'd get Anthony Davis, and then meanwhile the Lakers would get Ben Simmons, who's a clutch client who loves LeBron, and Kyrie might say, "You know what? I spent 3 years with LeBron. We won a title, and you can go home." And in this case, it would be going to LA. I don't know. That would be the wildest trade.
I like it. I like it a lot. It's also like the funny thing is that we talk about LeBron needed shooting, a lot, and he's trading Russell Westbrook, who's an awful shooter, for maybe even a worse shooter than Ben Simmons. Did I lose you for a second, Sep?
Yeah.
Sorry. I was saying that, LeBron would be trading. It would be funny to me that LeBron would be trading a terrible shooter in Westbrook and be getting a worse shooter in Ben Simmons, which is.
Yeah. But Simmons, I've always thought Simmons would want to play with LeBron. I think they play well together. And Kyrie, that would be interesting. I just think it's not going to happen because I can't pick the problem in that trade would be, Westbrook and Durant. Can they reunite? But and again, Durant might say, man, at least Westbrook showed up to games. Kyrie Irving doesn't even show up to games. And Kyrie might say, I did win a championship with Braun. And, again, maybe his brand is better in LA than it is in Brooklyn. I don't know. But it would be kind of a fascinating deal, wouldn't it?
Well, Sep, what I'm so confused by is logic would say Kevin Durant should be pissed off at Kyrie Irving, right? Like they decided to sign, they're conspired to go there together. We're going to win a title here together. And Kyrie Irving's basically at every turn thwarted Kevin Durant's attempts to win a championship in Brooklyn, whether it be the vaccine, the injuries. Like you said, he had to take some mental health time for the January 6th thing. But he seems to still love Kyrie, be enthralled with Kyrie Irving. I don't really understand their relationship.
Yeah, no, it's weird. It's almost like he has Kevin Durant hypnotized. And Durant's not a confrontational guy, right? He just left Oklahoma City because he couldn't deal with Russell Westbrook anymore. And Westbrook is the alpha in that relationship, right? Westbrook is in everyone's face. He goes to Golden State with the perfect situation. And then after 3 years, he can't take Draymond Green anymore because Draymond's the alpha there. Kyrie's not necessarily an alpha, but he's got this mystical shell over Kevin Durant. And Durant's a follower. He's not a leader, right? We both agree with that. A marvelous basketball player, but he's not really a leader. He just wants to play basketball and do his thing. So, yeah, it's not like he has any problems with Kyrie Irving. In the real world, Kevin Durant should go to Joe Tsai, the owner, and Sean Marks, the general manager, and say, can you get rid of this guy? I can't deal this anymore. It's not helping the team, but that's not going to happen. It's not going to happen. And maybe they just run it back, figuring if Simmons is engaged and healthy and there's no vax issue with Kyrie, maybe they run it back and it all works. I highly doubt it because it just doesn't seem like it's a constructed team with the rest of the roster. And then again, how do you build the rest of the roster, which you can do in the NBA because you'll find enough players that go in there. And then you've got a coaching issue. And Steve Nash, is he going to be the coach next year?
I don't know. He clearly is not a coach. He gave them nothing in terms of coaching. But again, that's what they wanted. I think the Nets were Kyrie and Kevin Durant were don't tell us what plays to run. Don't even call timeouts for us. We're just going to do what we're going to play pickup on the court and do what we do. Yeah. I don't think they don't want to coach, Sep. So okay, they could fire Steve Nash because that maybe takes a little pressure off of Kyrie and Kevin Durant for losing the series in 4 games. And so they, sacrificial lamb. But they're just going to hire somebody else that they're going to walk all over. Right. They don't want a head coach, and they are going to have far more influence on this than than Sean Marks is. I know Sean Marks is the GM, but those guys are going to be able to dictate how the roster is constructed and who the coach is going to be. That's again the bed that Brooklyn made themselves, and so they have to lie in it now. That could it work? Yeah, I guess it still could, but with every passing year, it becomes less likely, right?
Oh, of course. Yeah. I mean, because now you're going into year 4. There's no foundation there. Again, since they signed in 2019 with the Brooklyn Nets, the Nets have played 247 games. Kyrie and Kevin Durant have played together on the court 58 of those games. That's 23%. So there's as great as they are and as easy as you think they'd play along with each other, there's no chemistry there. And then every other player that's been on that roster has no chemistry with either player because neither one's durable. I mean, you can't just roll out players and expect it to work. You have to have some sort of foundation. Golden State's been successful, even though Klay Thompson was out for a long period of time, but they have so much foundation together with Steph Curry and Draymond Green, so they can miss a month and then they can come right back together and they don't miss a beat because they have that. They've been together for a decade plus. So with Kyrie and Kevin Durant, it's quite different. So look, and again, as we said, the East is strong. It's not like you just roll guys out there. And then you get the issue with Ben Simmons. Like, is he going to play? Is he, next year going to be having another issue with his back or doesn't want to play or doesn't like whatever and never goes out there and plays again? I mean, Ben Simmons has been in the league 6 years, Jed. He's missed 2 full seasons.
Yeah, and this they didn't even he couldn't even sit courtside for he wasn't even at this game, Steph, at game 4 at the because I think he didn't want to take potential boos from the Nets fans who were hoping he'd play. Like, I don't know what the deal is with him. Mental health is a serious thing, and I've struggled with mental health issues too. But when I was in the midst of struggling with some mental health issues, I did still show up for work. And I'm not saying you can show up. You can take a day off or a couple of days off. You can't take a year off. That's being lazy. That's not a mental health issue. That's being lazy.
No.
And so I am sensitive to it because again, I've gone through it, but I don't know anybody, myself included, who's had mental health issues that's had to take a year off from work. That's insane. There's just so many things wrong with him right now. And we could do hours and hours and hours talking about Ben Simmons. But the fact is that the Nets now have to find a way to make this work. And I don't know if there is a way to make it work. No,
I mean, because you're talking about some weird personalities there, right? I mean, you don't have a real leader. You've got Simmons, who, again, does he really love the game? It doesn't appear to that he does. And then you have Kyrie Irving, who is, again, the most unreliable guy other than Ben Simmons. So you get the 2 most unreliable guys in the league on the same roster with someone who's not very durable in Kevin Durant and a great player in Kevin Durant, but just not very durable.
And who has rabbit ears and is hearing all this.
Oh,
all of this.
Lord. I mean, he's
probably listening to our podcast, Sap.
Oh, absolutely. Yeah, we'll tag him when we tweet it out, and maybe he'll listen in. Why not? That'd be good. I'll take the criticism from KD. And look, I think he's a phenomenal player. Again, I've always pushed back that he's the best player in the world. No, that's Giannis, and he was never better than LeBron James because LeBron James would not got swept by a prime. LeBron James would not have got swept by the Celtics. He would have plowed through to win 1 or 2 games. 2 games in that series, just by virtue of a sheer force. I mean, Durant's just not as big a strong an athlete as LeBron, so there's a difference there. But
no doubt in my mind, no, he's not getting swept.
Yeah, no, he's not. I mean, he's too good. But it's going to be a fascinating offseason to see what happens in Brooklyn, and you've got some interesting personalities there. You've got a coach that's probably being hung out to dry, and Steve Nash, who had no coaching experience and got thrown into this thing with a guy in Kyrie Irving who says, we really don't need a coach. We're the coaches. We can all coach, so. Okay,
he's also the GM, Kyrie Irving, also the GM of the team too.
And apparently part owner with Joe Tsai. Yeah. So why not? Well, did he want to start his own league? Remember during the pandemic, he was going to start his own league. Yeah, no, he might be the craziest athlete other than Kurt Schilling. I mean, he's kind of starting to become the Kurt Schilling of the NBA.
This was after he wasn't invited to Disney World because he was not, healthy, and they were like, he wanted to come, and they're like, no, you can't just come be as a spectator. We're trying to make people safe. And he said, well, maybe we should start our own league. Well, it's okay.
He was going to start his own league. Yeah, because that's easy to do.
Very productive.
And he's also a vice president in the Players Association, which again goes back to your point that players love the guy. He's kind of like the kooky guy that. Exactly. He's hypnotized Kevin Durant and Lord knows who else.
It's strange. I think it took Ime Udoka to break the hypnotism on Jason Tatum that Kyrie had over him.
Yeah, because Tatum looked like a different player in the series. He was competitive, and I mean, there was one play where it was an offensive foul against Durant, and Tatum was on the floor, and all of a sudden he had this like mean look on his face, which Jason Tatum doesn't normally have unless he's complaining to the officials, which he does most of the night. And then you could see him like get really intense, as if to say, "Okay, good," So he seems like a changed player, yeah, without question.
Yeah. So yeah, it should be fascinating offseason for the Nets. I wish them nothing but failure. So I'm loving this. I'm loving that. But you know what? I would love that trade, Sap. I think you should start that rumor. Tweet it out there. See if it catches.
I will.
Tweet it out there and tag Kevin Durant. That's what you should do.
See that?
See what he thinks.
Be the craziest trade, and I think the contracts would pretty much work, right? I mean,
probably
we're talking
all max,
4 huge
max
contracts. Yeah,
should work.
I mean, oh my God, that would be awesome.
I'm also the only thing that would make this offseason better than the Nets falling apart is that if the Lakers win the lottery and get the number 1 pick, then they have to send it to New Orleans. That would, oh my God, that would make me so happy too.
Man, that would be pretty
everything's
incredible.
Coming up me right now, Sap. I'm very happy.
I just want to be around you. You're the opposite of the cooler. You're on fire.
I am. Yeah, I'm very happy these days. But that's going to do it for us here at the Pick and Roll NBA podcast with Jet and Sap. We are presented by Full Press Coverage, as we always are. Sap, we'll probably do a Celtics preview when we know for sure what their opponent is. We'll talk more about these series as they wrap up and look at the next round. So make sure that everybody's, checking in on our social medias at JohnSap25, at Jet Stryer. We'll give you show updates, and we'll be very, very common appearance in your dashboards or your feeds throughout the playoffs, as we're going to be doing a lot of shows. So stay tuned for that. A belated happy birthday, by the way, to you, Mr. Sapichetti.
Thank you. Thank you.
Sorry that I wasn't with you to celebrate. I know that you probably had a huge celebration.
Oh yeah, absolutely. Yeah, when you're 59, you usually have these major celebrations. Next year's number 60. Next year's number 60.
You need to do something for that.
We'll do that. I think the family will step up, and of course you will be invited.
So yep, belated happy birthday. And we will be back with some new podcasts with all the playoff info, storylines, whatever. And make sure you check out that. So we will talk to you later. Thanks for listening, everybody. See ya.